You've heard about it. It's Bolt. People say it's the cursor AI killer. I don't know about that, but it is one of the best ways to get your idea to market. And I think for the first time ever, we've had the founder of Bolt actually show how to use his product. We've done it with the founder of Replit. Now we're doing it with the founder of Bolt. You're not going to see this anywhere besides the Startup Ideas podcast. So get ready. By the end of this episode, you will learn a lot about how to use Bolt like a pro.
The Startup Ideas podcast. Sipping time, baby.
We've got Eric. He's the founder of StackBlitz, which is the maker of Bolt. And I think probably for the first time, he's just going to actually build something live and just share how to do it. So thank you, Eric, for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually pretty stoked about this because this is one of the first times where I've actually had a minute to sit down and use the product in a meaningful stretch. I'm kind of like chief bug finder typically, but yeah, that's, I kind of know how to poke and prod the thing to make it break or whatever. But this is gonna be fun because a lot of folks have been, and obviously leading up to the launch of Bolt like a month ago, I was using Bolt quite a bit to build stuff, and I have been since. But this is it's only been online a month, so it's not we have a lot of things to work on, and so I'm actually excited. We'll likely run into some roadblocks here, and that's going to be great because I'm going to go back to the team and be like, all right, let's go make this smoother, I'm walking in completely unprepared with I have a couple of ideas of things we could build, but I might even be even better if Greg, if there's some stuff that's on your mind that you think would be cool for us to build, just to prove that none of this is pre-planned.
Absolutely, and I'm actually happy that you're not prepared, because I think people are unprepared too. When they're building anything.
Exactly.
So that's the way I want you. I want you raw.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And that's 100%. Because I think right now, especially as we're improving the product, hopefully there's some tips and tricks as kind of one of the people on the StackBlitz side of this that understands how this thing is built. I might be able to kind of share some of the, just some debugging tips and whatever that at this point in time are going to be useful. And then, a couple of weeks from now, hopefully are not even needed because it's just stuff's built into the product that makes it smooth, So, cool. Anyway, stoked to build some stuff here.
Dude, you know how we met, right? You know how we met? We met from, you commented on one of my videos, on one of my Bolt videos with Ras Mike.
Oh, right. I forgot that. Yeah. Well, I remember I watched the video you did with Raznicki, and I was like, this is sick. That's all. Hell yeah. I'm on the channel. Oh my God.
Dude,
I went from
crazy?
Commenter to guest. Wow. Full circle. Let's go.
This could be you. You comment, you could come on the show.
I love it. Hell yeah. That is so dope. That is sick.
Cool. All right, let's get to building.
Heck yeah. Okay, let me. I guess I can share my screen here. So, Greg, what do you want to build? You have any ideas?
I have two ideas, and I want you to pick. Okay. One is a directory of some sort. So I just think that directories, we've done tutorials on directories on the pod before, but directories are such a good way to get a bunch of SEO traffic, and then you can evolve it into a product. So I think a lot of people are interested in directories and want to build it, and maybe Bolt can help them. That's one idea. And two is just a micro SaaS app. Everyone here is interested in micro SaaS, getting that MRR. Any micro SaaS idea you have, I'm totally open with. Okay,
game on. We might be able to build both of these, and that might be the ultimate showcase of I guess why why Bolt's been kind of a sensation over the past month since we launched the thing. I like the directory idea. That's a fantastic one. So let's start there because I think that's conceptually probably even easier to kind of get rolling with. So what I guess you're like a domain expert on this stuff. What would be what's a good example of a directory? Someone's trying to go and build something that they're trying to get a certain type of audience to come and get some SEO, and they're landing on this. I don't know, like what would be a good example of something like that, and like what would be our next steps? Not even just building, but like maybe where would we go to get kind of to populate that directory with some initial stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so there's been lots of talk about how Product Hunt is, there's a lot of issues with it. And like, what is Product Hunt at the core? It's a directory of products, and it's a directory of products for founders. So, could we build a directory where it's just like the products of the day, products of the week?
I dig. Okay, so let's make a directory of great products. What's our angle here? Is it? Are we curating it for an audience other than builders, or what are you thinking?
I think like indie hackers and builders and bootstrap founders, and they're looking for products to make their lives easier, more productive, and they want a trusted source. Shh, don't tell anyone, but I've got 30 plus startup ideas that could make you millions, and I'm giving them away for free. These aren't just random guesses. They're validated concepts from entrepreneurs who've built $100 million plus businesses. I've compiled them into one simple database, compiled from hundreds of conversations I've had on my podcast. But the main thing is, most of these ideas don't need a single investor. Some cost nothing to start. I'm pretty much handing you a cheat sheet. The Idea Bank is your startup shortcut. Just click below to get access. Your next cash flowing business is waiting for you.
And it kind of may seem weird that I'm like kind of typing all this kind of verbatim in, but it kind of actually helps to I found to just kind of describe almost at a spiritual level, kind of like, this is what I'm shooting for. And that's like, I almost start every single prompt off I do with like, here's like, when I made a personal website for myself, I was like, I want a website that just has this sort of like software developer vibe and aesthetic to it. And it like nailed it. It just like made this something, but it's like, that's like not a thing. That's like a vibe, you know what I mean? And so this is like, kind of like, you want to like, mix something that's like, if you can kind of capture a vibe well in a sentence and kind of, capture, okay, the other things, some more tangible, concrete stuff of like, okay, exactly how this should work. So like, I think the next part of this would basically be like, okay, so what in this directory are we looking for? Like one main page, or are we, you might have, what sort of stuff have you seen built that's worked actually, Greg, for this?
Well, I think it's one main page with like, maybe it's the five, maybe we can add some constraints. Maybe it's the five products that you need to have a look at today. And then there's like a product page that you click into. And like, why do we want that? Is just because that's just another SEO optimized page. And then why I think that this is like an actual business that someone can go and create, by the way, is you can eventually just do affiliate deals with the products you're mentioning.
Yep. Really great point. Really great point. Cool. Anything else you want to add just before we just go and send it? We can keep prompting.
Is that, yeah, it's interesting because like I'm curious, like, why is there too long of a prompt? Because when I'm prompting, I'm doing like 1 or 2 lines, and I'm seeing you kind of write more of a paragraph or 2 paragraphs.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it works. It kind of depends, right? And so it's, sometimes, and what, we'll see how this prompt works, but sometimes I'll put a prompt in and it gives me something back. I'm like, this is like kind of so far off that I'm actually just going to go back to the bullet homepage and just start a brand new prompt off, right? Usually when I'm in the chat, you can like roll back. And so, I'll use that often, but especially with this, when you're kind of describing, like, this first paragraph is like high level. This is the target audience. This is the high level what this product is, and this is actually just kind of more like specifically, here's the thing, here's the functionality we want in it, right? It tends to be pretty good because what it's actually going to go and do is, we'll see if it if it lives up to what I'm about to say, but because we kind of gave it this sort of high level, almost like marketing instructions, when it's actually punching out the name of this directory or like the descriptions, it should do a pretty good job of like kind of conveying like, hey, like actually writing good marketing copy, right? Which is if you're making a product like this, it's important to have, good CTAs. So let's just send it. Let's see what this thing makes. And you'll start punching this thing out. This is one of the nice. I mean, just that's insane. I mean, how fast you can just get. This is like a real code base, right? It's like npm installed everything. It's going in and writing all the files and stuff. It's pretty wild how fast it can get to work. I mean, especially compared to like if you had to like build this like locally or whatever have you. But we'll give it a second. Usually the first generation, it's got to write every single file out. We'll see what this thing brings back. One other thing that's kind of cool too is when you're writing prompts, we had this down at the bottom here, this little sparkly thing. It's called the prompt enhancer. So we actually, whatever's in the prompt that you've already written, you can hit that and it'll actually send that up to our AI model, and it'll enhance it with extra details and kind of help scaffold out a very specific prompt. And that way it makes it a bit more deterministic what you're going to get back. Because right now we just like sent it. We were like, okay, here's just like high level, but you want to really make sure you're getting back something that is going to have all the functionality you want or whatever have you. The prompt enhancer effectively kind of expands what you've said. And will help kind of make sure stuff works. So now we've run into an error. This is unfortunately one of the errors that we don't automatically catch. And so where is this error coming from? I see. Okay, I'm just going to tell it what the issue is. So this is something that when errors happen right now, like we're doing a better job. So like a good number of stuff. Like we have a little thing that'll pop and say like fix errors. When stuff like this happens, basically you just like copy and paste the error into the chat, and it'll actually go ahead and go in and take a stab at actually solving the thing, whatever have you. So let this thing take a crack at regenerating this file. And I believe this error, so this is, as a developer, I can kind of speak to what happened here. The AI made a dumb mistake, and it didn't escape this little quote there. And so that didn't allow the application to compile, right?
I also noticed in the code that it seems like one of the images is an Unsplash image, which I think is royalty free. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So we've trained this thing to actually, just out of the box, it'll go and pull stuff from Unsplash. I think a couple other providers as well, which is great because it's like you don't have to pay any money for it. Out of the box, you get like something that looks pretty good, right? And there you go. So we've got this directory here. I'm gonna go ahead and make this thing a little wider screen. There we go. Essential tools for indie hackers. And like I said, this is kind of like, again, because we explained kind of the essence of, hey, who's the audience and what are they trying to do with this versus just, hey, here's a directory of products. We would have gotten something kind of, you would have, if you kind of squinted, it's like, okay, yeah, there's a list of products, but now the marketing of these things are actually like the actual copy makes more sense. Right. And so I can click in and this is the page, for this product. Right. So pretty cool. So we've got our own directory site. And yeah, I mean, that's, not the craziest, most complicated thing in the world, but I mean, I don't know. We've been doing this for 5 minutes or something. Not even. I don't know.
Totally.
Pretty insane.
Pretty insane.
So and it's actually got images to attach to the thing. So you can obviously swap those with your own, that sort of thing. But it's nice to actually have a visual of it.
Okay, so if we want to, now that we've seen it, and we're like, oh, we want to change this and change that. So let's. Like one thing I think I want to change is I want it to be like vertically listed. I know instead of horizontal. I also want it to, like on product hunt, it's like product of the day, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. I think like the gamification of this directory is really interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we allow people to like upvote it or something.
I dig. So like maybe like we advertise, like have it kind of like show like the number 1, number 2, number 3, like
yeah.
So show in a very obvious way which products are number 1, number 2, number 3, etc., and let the user upvote on the products. Something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's see what this.
And then from a design perspective, Do you recommend us like giving feedback at this prompt level, or should we wait until we see what comes back?
Sometimes it's like sometimes good to kind of break it into distinct blocks where it's like okay, let's kind of do these things, and then you can circle back and be like, okay, now like how to do this some of the design. So it kind of gives you the other reason too is like you'll see here there's this undo button. So if we didn't like what just happened there, obviously it did fix the error, so I don't want to reverse it. But if we didn't like it, I can click undo and it'll actually roll back to the last checkpoint, right? So if we don't like what happens here, we can either tell the like reprompt the AI, or we can just say, okay, throw out everything you just did. Let's just get back to the working state and then kind of start from there. But if you tell the AI to do like a ton of different things and it does a lot of them right, but then one of them wrong, then you don't want to roll back. But you know that's the only, you're gonna have to manually change the code yourself. So that's the benefit of kind of breaking it up into smaller tasks. So we're gonna just send this one, and it's gonna go ahead and add that in. I don't know why it keeps editing this types file. I don't want types. I just want to ship. But yeah, so that's usually like having some very small focus prompts, just kind of like specifically like what you're working on, can be pretty helpful in that regard. Just kind of lets you break it down into smaller pieces, whatever have you.
Sometimes when I'm building stuff, I like, for example, directory, I reference the Octalysis framework. Do you know what that is?
I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a game mechanics framework, and we can put it on the screen. It's thinking about how do you turn your product into a game. So things like leaderboards, things like status points, things like achievements, and boom, this is it. This already starts feeling more like a game.
Yep, totally. We got a little upvote thing here, or is an upvote thing? So this is where this is an area where it's like, okay, so maybe did it upvote it? The vote count next to each point. Oh, I see. This is the voter. So I can actually do it. Obviously, this is just like probably in memory or whatever to start. But I mean, we could also, if we want to actually make it real, we could add Firebase or Superbase or whatever have you. But yeah, that looks awesome.
And by the way, I look at that. My initial reaction is like, whoa. The upvoting, people are going to spam that, and just going to click up. And then I'm like, my initial reaction is, no, let's prompt it to make it one vote at a time, per person. Yep. But then I was like, actually, it might be good that you can upvote unlimited, because then you're going to see huge upvote counts. It's going to feel alive.
True. It's kind of like if you have people that really love the thing and they're sitting there just hammering it, I mean, that's, time is value, and that is time, right? Like,
totally.
So love it. And okay, so you had mentioned design wise. What else? Did you have some design feedback you wanted to give Bolt on this thing?
Yes. So I don't know. It's clean, which I like a lot, but it just feels like we can add some more. Designers hate when you say this, but some more pops of color. But we're not talking to a designer, we're talking to Bolt, so no feelings hurt.
Yeah. What's funny? The number of times I said to Bolt, I'm like, make it beautiful, like use gradients, like make it pop, like it actually kind of it can kind of grab that, and it'll at least try, right? It's like, okay, I'll give it a shot, but we want to make it pop. Some beautiful, like, I don't know, like color gradients or something.
Yeah.
Like, anything in your head?
Yeah. Could you? I know on V0 you can add a image of like make it look like this. Could you do that on Bolt?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what's you got like some inspo here? It's like a beautiful looking site.
It's a good question. I think the Arc browser has a pretty nice site.
Okay, let's pull it up.
You can also use. It'd be funny. Like we have a crazy site. I don't know if it would work. Have you ever seen our site, latecheckout.studio?
I think I have.
It's crazy. Just like from a color perspective, I would be interested. Late checkout, LATE.
Oh, my bad. There we go. Okay, yeah, I do remember visiting this site. Okay, we can give it a shot. I mean,
Like from a color perspective, you know what I mean?
totally. And this is the ARC one.
Is the ARC one.
Okay, let's here. Tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a screenshot of this thing. Let's see. I mean, if we don't like it, we can just roll it back. That's a beautiful
Totally.
thing. And instead of gradients, attached is a beautiful.
Thank you.
Site. The colors are amazing. Very unique. Maybe you can like capture the vibe.
Yeah.
Into a product list site.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
This is crazy.
I mean, I don't know what we're gonna get back, but it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I mean, there you go. It's taking a crack at it. That's
yeah.
for sure.
I mean, I didn't think that it would be able to do it, but based on that reaction, I'm feeling optimistic.
It feels confident, at least.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
Out of the three of us, Bolt feels pretty confident right now. But I mean, it is surprising, you know, just and that's kind of the fun thing about this stuff is, you know, the thing about these AI products, and Bolt included, is like there are things you'll tell it, and it's just like, how the heck can it do that, you know? And then there's things you give it to, and you're like, how is it so dumb, right? And so when you kind of run into the dumb things, it's you know, I guess, and I actually, for people that are like indie hackers or like bootstrapping or just building side projects, especially people that are not like, you know, seasoned engineers or something, right? There is just a ridiculous amount of alpha in becoming good at like getting a feel for how to really drive like LLMs, right? Because you can just go and, I mean, you know, look at this. I mean, that's a good, it took the color palette, you know, it added these like icon, you know, it did a good job, right? I mean, it actually, you know, and this is the, you know, to do this as like an engineer or designer, it's like, it would take longer than what we just did. And so I think there's kind of an arbitrage opportunity where I think a lot of software engineers have been kind of late to the game on trying to adopt AI tools. And also the way that they're kind of approaching it is very different than someone who is, you know, kind of entrepreneurial in nature and is just, because that's the nature of entrepreneurship. You're dealing with, you know, building and launching products into the market is not deterministic. You have to kind of like feel if things are working, and like, of course, looking at metrics or whatever. It's very similar to like making LLMs work well for you. And so like, you know, a lot of the people that have been adopting Bolt have been folks that are building a micro SaaS, folks that are building, you know, they're like indie hackers or whatever have you. And it's no surprise to me because they're the ones that have been able, you know, it makes sense. They could master how to use a tool like this faster than anyone else in the world, you know? So anyways, just as an aside.
All right, there she is.
Oh yeah. Took your color scheme. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Cool. What do you say? Should we like deploy this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, let's deploy it.
That's one of the cool things about Bolt is it's not just for like making UI, and you can actually make kind of, you know, back-end aspects to this, which I think we might have enough time to actually kind of, you know, go and try and add some, you know, login or something. But it's got, you know, built-in deployment to production host on Netlify. All you have to do is just click this deploy button up here in the top right, and that'll actually tell Bolt that you want to do a production build and get a real URL for this. That's pretty cool because now it's not just prototyping some UI; it's actually getting this onto a you know, URL you can send to your friends and your family or whatever, or actually attach a real domain to, and you know, actually go and start getting Google to rank this for SEO, right? Which is pretty cool. And you don't have to log in. That's the other kind of cool thing about this is that it's actually doing this build in your browser, uploading it directly to Netlify, and we can go ahead and view it here. There it is, live on prod.
Crazy. That's
Pretty
crazy,
cool.
Man.
Wow, look at that. Look at that. Added that little, little
fire.
drop shadow thing. Yeah, that's a nice little touch. This is cool. This is actually, your color palette actually really,
It's calming. I think that
yeah,
people are interested in more calming design right now.
it is. It feels unique because it's you know.
Quick ad break. Let me tell you about a business I invested in. It's called boringmarketing.com. So a few years ago, I met this group of people that were some of the best SEO experts in the world. They were behind getting some of the biggest companies found on Google. And the secret sauce is they've got a set of technology and AI that could help you outrank your competition. So for my own businesses, I wanted that. I didn't want to have to rely on Mark Zuckerberg. I didn't want to depend on ads to drive customers to my businesses. I wanted to rank high in Google. That's why I like SEO, and that's why I use boringmarketing.com, and that's why I invested in it. They're so confident in their approach that they offer a 30-day sprint with a 100% money back guarantee. Who does that nowadays? So check it out. Highly recommend boringmarketing.com.
Yeah, I think there's kind of like the linear homepage, the you know, like that's sort of like, it's just been, you know, they're beautiful, but it's a lot, and this feels, I actually really like the feel of this. Yeah, I'm not just saying that, it's pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, so that's it. So if I wanted to actually attach a production domain, you can click this link, and in Netlify, you can then, you know, point to domain at this, and you know, this is a production website that we built here, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so you gotta get an idea of, you know, how to kind of push this thing and make the AI be creative based on the vibes you give it, you know.
Is it me, or is this way more simple than Cursor if you're not a developer?
Oh yeah, I mean 100%, right? And like when we originally, like, you know, were put Bolt online, like we, you know, because you got to understand, like from our point of view at StackBlitz, like we've been in the business of making web IDEs, like, you know, to kind of like this what I'm showing you here. This is has been our product for 7 years. Like, this is what we do. You know, you can open up repos, and when you open these things up, it's an IDE, right? Like, it's not, there's no AI, there's no, you know, so people, we had some people building micro SaaS with this, but I mean, it was like a couple percent of our user base, if that, right? So when we put Bolt online, we thought developers were going to be, you know, you know, dig it because it, you know, allows them to punch out code faster and stuff. And we certainly didn't think we would get compared to Cursor. But, you know, kind of from when we launched, what we ended up finding is a lot of folks have been, you know, adopting Cursor that are, you know, again, not like, you know, like engineers per se, like, you know, by their day job or whatever. And Bolt is amazing for this, right? Because yeah, like when you come to Cursor, you're getting something that looks like this, more or less. And in reality, you actually don't really want to be looking at the code, you know, as the default thing. You actually, ideally, you're having a more powerful, simple discussion at a high level with the actual AI agent, right? And so that's like, I think that's been, you know, really, I mean, one of the key things that folks say to us is like, I love how simple this is. I love that I can just, you know, I come here and I just tell it what I want, and it makes it, versus me having to go clone some repo, install stuff. Then I can tell Cursor to kind of edit stuff. And that's not a knock against Cursor. I mean, like, you know, we use Cursor to build Bolt, you know, like in our own code base. And we use Bolt to like scaffold out UI. So there's kind of like a mix of where these things fall in. But yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, this is far simpler to get, you know, go from idea to production with, right?
And it's simpler, but is it as powerful? Like, I mean, maybe we'll talk about it when we want to build this micro SaaS app next, but could you do as much with Bolt as you can with Cursor?
I think in the context of building web applications, you can do a ton. I mean, you can build something that's actually got like a back end where you have auth, and, you know, like we have people that have launched real products just using Bolt at this point, where they're like taking Stripe for, you know, subscriptions, and like they're using Supabase to authenticate, and like, you know, blah, 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 blah. So you can 100% build real stuff with Bolt. I think where Cursor really shines is like, Cursor is a, you know, it's a heavyweight tool that's designed to work with, you know, code bases at like the Fortune 500 even, right? That have been, you know, code bases that have been around for decades, you know? And so it's they have to they have to design the tool for kind of a different audience there. And that doesn't mean that Cursor's not useful, but you can certainly do kind of quote unquote a lot more with Cursor. Like you can build any type of software with Cursor, but when it comes to building like a full stack web app, unless you have very specific requirements that would be hard to do in Bolt or something. I mean, God, it's tough to beat. It's tough to beat how fast and simple and powerful this thing is.
So should we try to build something that's a bit more complex just for fun?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm down. We can give it a shot. What's an idea you got? Something that's complex, maybe requires like, login or I don't know, something like that. Maybe like a chat app. I don't know, something that's real time per se.
That'd be cool. Well, yeah. What do you think?
Maybe it'll be a complimentary site to our indie hacker site. It's like indie hacker chat, and I'm kind of wondering actually, maybe I just pull this back up. And I say, let's add like a live chat page or something to this. Okay. We want to add a live chat page, to this site for indie hackers to, in real time communicate with one another. I don't know how much more specific I want to be at this point. I'm just gonna add it, and I'll tell it what to use. Okay, I don't want to use Ably. I don't want to do that.
And why is that?
I don't know what that is. I have no idea what it is. It's probably good. Sorry, Ably people, if you're watching this. Like, I've never heard of it. I'm not familiar with it. But a lot of people ask us. So in the future, in Bolt, when you ask something like this, we're going to have kind of recommended providers where it's like one click to set it up and blah blah blah, which is going to be super cool. But right now, like we actually recommend people use Firebase or Supabase. They just kind of tend to be the ones that really work the best with Bolt. They have kind of auth built in. They have real-time data storage and synchronization. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just revert back here. And I'm going to go put this in. I'm going to say, use Firebase. And just so that it punches out the thing that I know should work pretty well. This is the one thing I will say coming into this. I do know this works well. We've had probably hundreds or over 1,000 people that have kind of asked this question. So I won't play dumb and let us go down the path of trying to use something that might not work. Ably might work, I don't know, but the Firebase should work without an issue here. So while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Firebase console here. Let's create indie hacker chat. And okay, what else do I got to do? You have to be, am I not on my StackBlitz account? Okay, let's try that here. All right, indie hacker chat, select parent resource, StackBlitz, sure. There we go, okay. Nope, Google Analytics, but yeah, maybe folks would want that. I don't right now. This thing's still cranking over here.
Why did you say I just want people to chat with one another versus I want a Discord-like experience, or what was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, fair enough. There wasn't a ton, and I think the main thing I was thinking is let's start with something simple, because if it doesn't work, then at least there's not a ton of functionality for them to have to sift through. That was pretty much the only reason. But one of our folks actually did do, I think at the launch video of Bolt, we actually had a Discord app for musicians was the prompt. Actually worked. So you can add, you can have it be something more sophisticated. Once this thing's built too, we can go and say add presence when people are online or whatever, and stuff like that. So let this thing punch out. Looks like this is coming through kind of slow. I think our AI provider is Anthropic, and ever since they now, I don't know if anyone saw this, but they Copilot is allowing sonnet usage now. Kind of noticed a little bit of slowdown since Microsoft. Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know. I have no insider info, but I've just kind of noticed since that stuff went live, it seems like their GPUs are melting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That makes
But
sense.
it kind of does, right? It kind of does.
Yeah.
I mean, I must imagine they're just getting hammered with, I mean, getting Copilot's used by so many people. Yeah, so this thing's still punching out. Let me go ahead and find the where do you actually get that? I think it's in the build section. Real-time database. Okay, create database. So I think we will need this. Sure, that looks good. Let's start in test mode. Cool. All right, yeah. So just to build something quick, so with Firebase, and I think with like Supabase, when you're going into production, you're going to want to make sure you have like your permissions on the database set up properly, so people can't like, write into other users' data or read other users' data, that sort of thing. For the sake of this, test mode's nice, especially when you're like prototyping something, because you can circle back and just add that stuff later. This just makes it way faster for us to just get something running and actually build out the functionality, and then we can circle back and add the relevant like permissions or whatever have you here, right? Okay. So this thing, and actually, I'm glad this happened. So one thing that this should be fixed in the next day or two. Sometimes the LLM forgets to restart the dev server. So you can either say like restart the dev server because right now there's no preview. I think this one will just be npm run dev. So I can just go and run that, and it'll kick this thing up. Replace the Firebase config with your own credentials when deploying. The current ones are placeholders. Okay, good to know. Where are those credentials? Let's find out. Probably in here. Yep, there it is. Okay. Awesome. Okay, I don't know where that chat page is, but so I'll have to ask where the chat page is. Oh, there's a problem. What is the problem? Okay, I don't think that that's actually a problem here. Let me go ahead and just like pop in our API keys to start off here. So I'm going to just pull this in another window to make it easy for me to copy and paste. Let's see. Where in Firebase do you get this information? Okay, probably there. Project settings.
I love that there's problems here because this is what you're going to expect. So even the co-founder of Bolt himself is having problems sometimes.
That's just the nature of these things too, right? It's like I think our job on Bolt is to like go and smooth this out, and like find all these different edge cases. And this is like especially why we're gonna have preferred providers we're gonna kind of integrate, is just to make this really really seamless to get all this stuff in here. Where to find Firebase key? Go to product settings. Yeah, this is insane. How can I not find this thing? Maybe I'm just gonna pull this back over here. Let's find out. I feel like this is probably good feedback for. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let me go back. Good feedback for the Firebase team. How the heck do I?
I was gonna say, like, we should have invited the co-founder of Firebase on this call too.
This is insanity. How am I unable to find this?
Couldn't we just like ask like Claude or Perplexity or some where to find?
Good point. Where to get Firebase API keys in dashboard?
Claude has become my like go-to technical customer support person.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I'd say same thing for me. Okay, so project overview to open project settings. I think we were there, and then scroll into our apps. Okay, got it. Okay, so we have to actually create a web app. Okay.
Like, how would we have known that?
I don't know. I swear to God, it used to be something that was just like listed there. I mean, that was I don't know. I do this for a living. That was not obvious to me, what that thing was doing there. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull the code up here. So Firebase config, I figure I ought to just be able to copy and paste this and pop it over into here, would be my guess. Yep. I mean, kind of seems like it. Okay, save. And so my question is, how do we get to the chat page? Pages/chat. Oh, there's like a chat route. Okay. So if I go there, oh. Okay, so there is a chat thing. Okay, so for the sake, I don't know how much time we have left here, but let's see. Pop-up blocked Firebase error. Okay, I think it might be because we're in the preview here. So let's just have it remove the auth just for now, just so that we can try this thing out. So remove the need to sign in to chat.
And by the way, this is a good learning, especially for the non-dev audience, is like, if something's not working, just go like one feature at a time. And I think that was kind of your nature around like why you even prompted it. Instead of doing Discord for whatever, create a Discord-like experience and just saying, get me real-time chat. It's just a lot less features. And then you can add on one at a time.
Totally. Yeah, especially when you're dealing with stuff that's going to be like more complicated functionality. Like for design changes, I'll just kind of like I'll be like looking at the design, just creating a list in one chat message. I'm like, here's this thing sucks, make this better. Da 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 da. When it comes to functionality, I'm glad you pointed that out because it's something I didn't really actually realize until you kind of asked why I did it. But like, yeah, with functionality, I'm much more conservative because it's just okay. Add chat. What does that mean? I mean, like, what's that going to like look at? Like, how? There's a lot of things that could probably go wrong when the LM is going to go and try and punch that out, right? So it's like kind of like when you're adding function, you just do it like the absolute minimal thing, get it to work, then say, okay, then add this thing onto it, and da da da. But yeah, that's that it kind of allows you to just slowly but surely build the thing out in a way that's going to be pretty reliable, right? Let's see what happens here. Let's go. Okay, so I actually asked it to on the homepage. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Join the chat. All right, Eric.
Wow. I mean, come on. Let's go.
This is and so I guess if I refresh, let me put in Eric again. Let me see. Is there what error happened? Is this an error? Okay, no. So I wonder if it's. Let's go to our Firebase. Let's see if it's actually storing the data in here. Go to real-time database. Are the chats being stored in Firebase? Real-time database. I could probably go look at the code, but it should be able to know. Aha. Okay. Okay. Sorry. It actually was storing. It was storing it in Firebase Firestore. Let's see if we actually had any results, because that's one thing with Firebase. There's like two different database products. I personally just reach for the real time database because that is the thing that I am the most familiar with. Like that's back. This is my 2010s hacker era. I don't know. Like back in the day, Firebase was like Firebase real time database was the thing. But let's see. So yeah, I don't. Oh, you know what? There isn't a data because I had created a real time one, so that's why the persistence probably wasn't working here. So okay, let's see what this thing does. So it goes and punches this out. Yeah, pretty wild. And by the way, one of our DevRel folks, or I should say not one of, our DevRel person, Tomek, amazing guy. He made a tutorial on how to use Firebase with Bolt this past week. I can let me go and find the YouTube video. I'll just pull it up. He did a really good job on this. But
we can throw that in the YouTube description for people who want to go and watch that as a follow-up to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so definitely worth a watch because he goes into way more detail. So just kind of so this is the video how to add a database to your Bolt.new app. Super cool. It's got a good amount. I mean, for we have like 1,000 subscribers. A good number of people have watched the thing. Okay, let's try this out. So let's see if it'll work. Hello, and let's go.
There it is.
Look at that. Okay. Here now, what we have to do? Let's deploy this thing. And Greg, let's chat. Let's chat together on our Indie Hackers site because we could do that. I'm going to send you this link and You can share your screen, or I can keep sharing mine, and we can chat together. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Hang on. No, don't create my EMV file. What are you doing? Don't do that. This is one of the we have actually a fix coming for this. So what's going on is the LM is being smart, and it's like, you shouldn't hard code your variables in this file. What are you doing? Are you insane? Especially if we're going to deploy to prod, we need to fix this. So one of the things we're going to be adding is just locking files so the LLM will not modify stuff, etc. Honestly, this is what you should do if you're going to prod. To be fair, I'm kind of dunking on it, but this is actually this is probably the right move. Let's make sure that this still works real quick. Okay, yeah. So here, we'll go ahead and do we have a chat here? We do. Okay, let me go ahead and studio chat. Go ahead and open this up. Come join the chat. Let's see if this works. I'm coming. You're punching in from Florida, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So from across the continental U.S., I'm in the Bay Area, on the West Coast. Let's see if this happens.
All right, I'm in.
Look at that.
Worked? Oh, there we go.
Let's go.
And that's the coolest part about this is we started off with a directory to get traffic. And then all of a sudden, now we're this like social, app, SaaS app. It's mind blowing because it's just your ideas. You just have to have really good ideas.
Yeah, totally. And it's amazing, right? Because that's like how it should be, like you should be able to just, have amazing ideas and be able to go and put them into production. And like, there's been it's been really cool to see a lot of, again, people in like the indie hacker community going and doing this, where there's this gal, her name's Pitch. She's from Thailand, and she made this app called Viral Hooks. I can viralhooks.ai. So she built this entirely with Bolt, right? And like a week or two after launch, we my chief of staff and I got on the phone with her because she was one of our power users. Like, talk to us about what you're doing. Really cool app. It basically she's built this app that helps you build viral hooks for your your TikTok posts and things like that. And she had a week before we launched Bolt, she had actually put a post on Upwork, just trying to find a developer to like build out this idea for her. And she's like a PM at like a software banking company or something in Thailand. And so she got a couple different proposals, and they were like basically in the range of it was like 3 or 5K to build this app. And it was going to take I don't know, a couple months or something, which reasonable, right? I mean, like, I've done a good amount of software contracting. I've contracted software devs. I mean, that's like seems like a pretty reasonable price and time frame. But if you're paying out of pocket for like a side project or et cetera, it's a little good amount of money. And so when we launched Bolt, she signed up on our $50 a month plan, and she had this thing built in like a week and a half or 2 weeks or something, and which is crazy, right? I mean, like it was like literally 1/100th the cost, and 5 or 10 times faster than she was quoted at, right? So it's just it's unbelievable the amount of leverage that you can have if you're someone who's really creative, entrepreneurial, fire starter that wants to go and build stuff and just build cool stuff that like looks good, right? I mean, this is unbelievable.
I mean, this could be like a startup in Soma that's backed by Sequoia for all I know.
Right? Yeah, I mean, the stuff that's like, there's a guy named Paul who made a CRM called like Chilled CRM, I think, and they look professional, and it's kind of to this point. We've had YC startups already. They've come to Bolt to build their landing pages and stuff, because it's just like one of my friends, his company's a YC company. They're doing like data pipeline stuff above my pay grade. It's just, that's like the hardcore back end engineering stuff. And, they have better stuff to be doing than writing a front end landing page about their product. I mean, it's like they should be working on the data pipeline thing, right? Like that's their secret sauce. And so that's what they did is they came and just spent 30 minutes, kind of prompting, their site into existence, and it looks great. So like I said, it's just crazy.
Can you hit the pricing page on here? I'm just curious, like what she charges. So I mean, it's crazy. Like she's probably making real money with this.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bonkers.
Yep. Can't confirm. There's at least a dozen people that have launched stuff that have said, "Yep, I've had my first customer," or first dozen customers or whatever at this point from Bolt.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Like really, and I love it. This is why we started StackBlitz in the first place. Is we felt 7 years ago when we started the thing, it was like we felt that people should be able to build web apps using the web. It's like you should be able to, in a browser, come, just build things without it download stuff to your computer and et cetera. And it's just like you would any, like, when you write a document these days, you make a design in Figma, you're not downloading some giant thing to your computer. It's like you can share these URLs. That's kind of the magic of this.
Well, Eric, I appreciate you. You're running probably one of the hottest AI startups right now and just scaling really quickly, but you chose to spend a little bit of time with us and show us how to build and how to use the tool. And I'm really grateful for that. I think I'd love to see people in the comment section just comment and comment if you enjoyed this and send Eric some love for sure. He deserves it. And Eric, where could people get going on Bolt? How should people start?
Yeah, totally. I mean, you head over to bolt.new. I mean, it's the simplest thing ever. There's like an input box. Type in your wildest dreams, hit enter. I mean, maybe not wildest, but like type in something pretty well, thought out or whatever. But yeah, start there, and then we can share the tutorial that Tomek made over on X, where you can follow at StackBlitz. We're constantly posting stuff there. And on Discord, we're discord.gg/StackBlitz. So I was stoked to see what everyone builds. Really excited to see what everyone has to say about this stuff. And thanks for having me on. This has been a blast. I mean, I've had a lot of fun building something.
All right, thanks a lot, man. I'll catch you later.
Awesome. All right, have a good one.